like to welcome each and every individual to Engineer Clarity. And this is gaining clarity on being a professional speaker. Or maybe you're not a professional speaker. You have no desire to be a professional speaker. That's okay as well. And maybe you just want to be a co-host. Or maybe you don't even want to be a co-host, but you know you need to get to that 1-1, to get to your WOW income goal, to get to working the number of hours that you want to work. You need to go ahead and kind of get out there. And so, hi, my name is Mark Boersma, President of Synergy Solutions, and I'll be your executive coach for today's coaching session as it relates to how to become a professional speaker and or how to do videos and or how to do co-hosting. And so welcome, everyone. You have my permission to interrupt me at any time and say, hey, Mark, what's the question about this? I have been blessed, for those who don't know me, I have been blessed to be an international speaker and author. I've traveled all around the world. I have written 16 books and over 100 ebooks and white papers. I don't like to speak, and I don't like to write. But my life vision, my goals, I knew that I needed to become a speaker and author. And so kind of a funny story, my senior year for my bachelor's degree in marketing, I had to give 3 marketing presentations in front of people. It was a group presentation, myself and 3 other people. And I got out of all 3 of them. I negotiated my way out with my partners, and I said, hey, I'm going to do all the backstage stuff. I'm going to go ahead and do all the behind-the-scenes stuff. I'll make you guys look great in front of people. But the condition is I don't have to get up and speak. And they all agreed to that. So I was good in sales, in selling that. Went into 100% straight commission sales position right out of college. My wife was 3 months pregnant at the time. She graduated at the same time I had. And started in straight commission sales, earned $1 an hour the first 3 months, went into the president of the company, pounded on his desk and said, Tony, this isn't working. I'm getting killed. He said, Mark, it takes 12 to 18 months. They didn't tell me that when they interviewed me. I had 3 other job offers that said, Mark, you're perfect for what we're looking. Great, salary, benefits, car. I mean, it was wonderful. But I said, Mark, you've never failed at anything you've ever tried in your life. You're not going to start now. Started getting into that, and I realized, man, giving group presentations is 1,000,000 times more effective. I hated that, but I liked money, needed money for my wife and my new little daughter. So I did that for a number of years, and I thought I did pretty good. I mean, it opened up a lot of doors for me. It cloned myself. I was more efficient rather than doing, and I was teaching on different things, personality, so that goes back 33, 34 years teaching that. People love that on marketing, a bunch of different things. Go fast forward, 4 years, started my own company, met my international speaking author, Linda Brakall, and I went through her 3-day boot camp. At the end of the first day, she came up to me and she said, Mark, I have to be honest with you. Don't you love when people tell you that? I said, no, absolutely. She said, Mark, you are the most god-awful speaker I have ever met in my life. I said, Linda, that's exciting. Then I have no place to go but up. And so the things I learned under her coaching and mentoring were phenomenal. That's when I started taking my speaking to a whole new level, speaking around the country. I did it for free initially, and then over time got paid to do it, got paid to travel, bring an entourage. It was a lot of fun. That prepared me to doing webinars, and so in this we're going to be focusing in on doing this is kind of basic training 101. This is some of this stuff, is not brain surgery, it's not rocket science, but it's amazing how people don't think about it. They just don't think about it. And so if any of these things relate to you and you go, oh my gracious, I did that or I've done that, it's not pointed at you. It's just in general. These are things that often we tend to forget. Now, when you're doing a webinar that's recorded, especially if you're partnering with Life Masteries Institute, as I do, literally they will send this out to, they have over 17 million in their database. They send over 600 or over 700,000 emails a month They're monsters. And so what I love most about presenting is that it clones me. Okay, the good thing about it cloning you is that, for me, when I'm playing with my 6 kids or my 6 grandkids, or when I'm, hanging out with my wife, or when I'm sleeping, or when I'm having fun or relaxing, whatever I'm doing, it's cloning me like somebody can watch me. And the technology that Life Masteries has now, I've never seen. It's unbelievable what they're able to do. The good thing about cloning you is that it clones you. The bad thing about it cloning you is it clones you. And don't expect to go in and edit. A lot of this stuff is non-editable. Like, you can't edit it. You just can't, because if you edit out something, it edits out like the content too. And so let's start off with some real basic 101 things. And again, this is not this. I also, so I've been on, NBC News or NBC station. I was interviewed with Tom Kuntz. I also flew down to Atlanta, and I don't know, shot hundreds of episodes of a bunch of different series. So I was flying down every month to a TV studio. Funny stories on that. Probably won't share a lot of them today, but we'll share some of them in the future. One of them I will share is always sell the next segments. So if you watch the TV news or, any type of a series, they're always leaving you with something. They leave an opening, like a black hole, like a gap, like the mind wants to close something, so they open a loop, so you have to come back after the break. And so always sell the next segment. So let's start off with a few basic ones, and then we can get into more advanced things. First is, you always arrive early to the actual event. Like, I'm just saying, you always arrive early. Never, ever come right on time. On time is late. Get there a minimum of 10 minutes early. I've got on the screen here a couple different ones. There's the Untangled Minds Foundation doing a high-end. They've invited me to present. I've invited some of you to actually co-present with me, from concept to contract, getting your clients to seal the deal. This is going to be a really cool event. You'll want to promote it heavily yourself in your networks. For architects, it gives 1 CE, continuing education credit. Those are some awesome ones. Actually, many or most CE courses are kind of boring, actually, but you get a CE credit, so you kind of tough your way through it. When you have something as exciting as this, and so I'm kind of going through this here, and and so you can see how these things are put together. We're not going to take time on how to do the presentation and build the presentation. We're just talking about focusing. A lot of you are interested in co-hosting a business operating system. So BOSS for real estate professionals, or BOSS for CPAs, or BOSS for financial planners, or BOSS for churches, or BOSS for children. Emily came up with a great idea. She says, Mark, next time you talk to the wizard, if you don't know the wizard, I'm telling you, you got to meet the wizard. The guy's amazing. Based on university research, I don't know how they do this, but I just trust universities so much that it must be true. But based on university research, the wizard is the smartest human being in the entire world and the most caring. I mean, imagine being the smartest. Anyways, the guy's brilliant, and Emily, and I haven't talked to him in quite a while, but Emily said, Mark, it'd be so cool to have the wizard do BOSS for children. I'm like, that is a great idea. And so I believe that's going to have, the wizard said he's very busy, very, very busy lately, but he's going to try to squeeze it in and do that. So the first thing is arrive, 10 minutes early. For the BOSS system, it's a half an hour early to make sure that we have coordination, make sure that if you're co-speaking, what are you going to say? Like, what parts of the conversation? We don't have Paul Weiner on. I wish we did. He and I are a natural together. Tom Kuntz and I are natural. We just flow, like the energy flows. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes it doesn't. So be early, okay? Engage on the prep, training, connection calls, all of that. Again, it's cloning you. It's cloning you, good or bad, it's cloning you. So when you say something, ask a question, interact. Again, it's not like you can go in and have them edit you out. You can't. Like whatever is. And so it's like going live. Like you can't say, well, I was picking my nose, or my hair didn't look right, or, I didn't, I was in my underwear. Sorry, that's what's going to be shown. I'm serious. So you got to come prepared, and the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. So don't think, well, I'm so busy I can't prepare. This is cloning you. Make sure that you have a good clone. And then I don't know if you're familiar with product placement ads. I might say something a little bit later. That's like on movies where they put an Apple computer in the scene, or a Coke box, Coke can there, or something like that. And so companies pay big monies. So you don't want to overtly sell yourself, You don't want to overtly sell yourself ever. It's just kind of not cool. Well, I wouldn't say ever. Normally, in most situations, you don't overt sell yourself. You do it through insight selling, asking questions, telling a story. You can insert yourself in those situations. You can do triangulation selling. So I can't sell myself, but you can say something nice about me, or I can say something nice about you. So engage and connect with the other co-presenters, get to know them. Hopefully you'll be doing a lot. Hopefully you'll be in great demand where people will see it and say, hey, Michael Schuster, I saw your presentation. You were amazing. Can you do a co-presentation, with me? When you think about it, it's a half an hour, it's an hour, it's, maybe 2.5 hours max. But you have no travel time with a webinar, right? So you can just go ahead and in the comfort of your own home, you can just do it. Mindset. This is a life-changing event that will change your life forever if you believe it. If you don't believe it's going to change your life, it's probably not. And if you don't believe it's going to change your life, like these presentations, everyone is new. Everyone is exciting to me. Everyone is a first time for me. There's no two that are like. Everyone is going to change my life. If I don't go into that with that kind of a mindset, with that type of energy, probably the people watching it. I'm watching Michael Jordan's The Last Dance and the Chicago Bulls. Like he had this huge, huge sense of like people were coming to see him perform, to see him play. Even if he was sick, he wasn't feeling good. Whatever you do, don't be a whiner, a baby. I'm not feeling good. Like, don't do that. Like, do not do that. Do not be whiners. I can't tell you how many people, I'm sick, I'm this. It's like, really, we don't want Eeyore on these calls. Like, we just don't want Eeyore on the calls. And so, you are pumped up, motivated. On one of the ones that I did, I just got back from the dentist, and my mouth was still, swollen. I've just been to the dentist. I have to apologize. No, I didn't say that. Like, no, it's pumped up. It's excited. It's energy. You're in the entertainment industry. You want to entertain, have fun, but also in the education where people are like, wow, I want other people to go ahead and go through and experience the same thing. Be clear on what do you want to accomplish and achieve from participating. It should be measurable in a due date. I want this number of leads. I want this number of this. I want likes or thumbs up, whatever it is. Be clear on what you want. Don't expect other people, this isn't like a church service. You sit in the pew and then you walk out. You didn't do anything, but you feel spiritual. Like, you got to know what you want, and then you got to go after it. And then find out what other people want. And as we help other people get what they want, they help us get what we want. Let's see here. In the triangulation selling, if you get 2 or 3 people like Michael Schuster, like he knows how to sell me like crazy. So he'll say great things about me. I'll say great things about Michael. Now, when you're saying something great, I like to always be honest and truthful. What does that mean? and confident and excited. So I can honestly say I've been in real estate, since I was 15, so that's over 40 years I've been in and around real estate. And Michael Schuster, the guy is one of a kind. Now, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but my energy would tend to convey that it's really good. That's important. So if you're going to sell something. And so be careful, if you watch TV, which I don't, if you watch sitcoms, which I don't, but if you watch movies, which I do, even in Fast and Furious, you have different age, different personalities, and they're always and genders and ethnic groups. And so you don't want to be one personality. But you can accelerate it, you can accentuate it, you can be more analytic, but expressive selves, like people who are fun, funny, caring, all of that kind of stuff. Now, if you're on a group with me and I'm really, really expressive, well, then you might want to take a different role, but be intentional in what you're doing. What is that one that Stars one or something, the cynic guy that, I forget but he was always mean, right? But that
American
gave
Idol.
American Idol, thank you. And Simon, I think it was. And so obviously I don't watch that kind of stuff. But, so you have the cynic. You have the guy that's really mean and nasty. So you can have that in it, and it's kind of fun and funny, and everybody loves to hate, the person. But, who's more caring? Maybe it's the one. Anyways, having all of that's going to be really important. Again, it's cloning you. And so if Michael were to join, the high-end design, he's been on a number of those, so I'm guessing that, if he wanted to join that one with me, he could do that. Now he wants to sell, not during the presentation, although he could ask stories, or he could say, but the ones that are rebroadcast, typically it's an hour of training. So high content, you're not selling anything, you're just saying, oh my gracious, that was so helpful. Yes, I learned so much. You're not selling anything during that first hour. Then the first 15 minutes is you're selling something. That doesn't mean you're costing money. It's typically doing a 30-minute strategy session. So it's free. You're selling, take 3 minutes to do a 3-minute, personality assessment. Sometimes you're wanting to sell something, which you can after the first 60 minutes. It's up to you. Coordinate with the other people. For sure, though, Michael and I would want to embed Tanglewood in what they're doing in Untangled Minds. Now, you can oversell, so you want to make sure you're sensitive of how they sell. It's their brand, all those kind of things. And so making sure that you're using triangulation selling. Be aware of speakers' goals, and as we help others to achieve their goals, they will help us to achieve our goals. Ask questions from others' perspective, point of view. So you want to think about what questions have you heard. So Michael, for example, he could have personality masteries for home buyers, personality masteries for commercial real estate. He could have personality masteries for, retirees in real estate. So he could have all of those. And if he gets the right group together, then what you're doing is you're mapping out, what objections in the Q&A time. And sometimes when I first heard this from my mentor, Anthony, who is the developer of Webinar Fuel, he said that he's had webinars that have gone 2.5 hours. So I just had somebody say nobody will attend that. But I've been on, webinars on Saturday where they said nobody will be up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I've had people stay on literally over 3.5 hours. So just because, you're not thinking like yourself, you're thinking like other people. And how does the analytic, how does the driver, how does the expressives, how does the amiables, what are the objections? You want to get all the objections after the first 60 minutes. You want to cover those. So the goal is that it clones yourself. It moves people from point A to point B. Like we've got, in the last few years, there's 560 X-ray sales that have been. A number of those have not moved to Action Vision. So we're going to do Boss for Business Owners Part 3 that's going to use the technology to help them to see, hey, you're losing $10,000 a week because you don't have a plan, you don't have coaching, you don't have a boss system. So all of us can use this to clone ourselves. with Nicole, with with Tanglewood Conservatories. She could use this for architects. With Jerry in the commercial, in the commercial business, he could use this. Boss for commercial. Tree removal. She could use it for that, or she could use it for an MLM that she's participating in. So understanding, what questions are asking. Now, you can act like you can ask a question even if you know the answer. So you don't have to be the smartest person on the phone call. You don't need to be presented as the smartest person. People will actually be impressed if you're humble. People will be impressed by the questions you ask. So you can say, Mark, I have this question, even if you don't, but you can say you do. Because if you ask the question, then you do. Or you can say, hey, Mark, somebody I know shared this with me. And you could, even if it's somebody was yourself. So again, you can do third party. If you're talking about yourself in third person, talk to my grandson Daniel. He's great at that. He's been doing that since 3 years old. Michael Schuster is very proficient in talking about himself in third person, as am I as well. Ask questions and then tell stories. Tell stories that will move people, but not too much. So move people into taking action. Just some, you'd think, common sense things. Make sure that your background when you're doing Zoom is not, is somewhat, don't have people walking behind you that are naked. Don't have that. Make sure you have something of professionalism, how you want to present yourself. Be careful about, don't pick your nose or blow your nose or something like that if you're on video. So again, you think, don't fall asleep. Be attentive. Pretend that you're engaged even if you're not, because you're going to, fake it till you make it. Your energy, especially if you're on video, your energy is going to be contagious on other people. All right, so we've gone over a lot in a very short period of time. Emily, anything you can think of that we missed? Or questions you have? Michael, I apologize. No, I said it was going to be 10 minutes. It was longer. There's so much knowledge and experience that I have on this, Michael. Are you overwhelmed with my knowledge and experience?
Always, Mark. Absolutely.
Always. I love that. That's
always more and more overflowing.
That's the good way to get on as a co-host. Tell somebody, the host or another co-host, how amazing they are. A tip, so tell them how amazing. Like I tell Paul Weiner how amazing he is, and Tom. I actually believe that. I won't ever tell somebody they're amazing unless I actually, think they are. I don't really like when people tell me I'm amazing, but if it's on a webinar that's going to clone me, go ahead and say that. Don't be too much, though, because then it's a little overboard, so make it believable of what it is. I don't know, in the pre-show here today, Emily, she was flirting with me. My wife is totally okay with that. It's a positive flirting with me. It's okay to have some of that energy, even male-female energy that's kind of cute, that kind of says, hey, these people are having fun. These people are friends. They're not taking themselves too serious. This is authentic. This is real. That's really important. Michael, did I buy you enough time to gather your thoughts or questions?
Is that what that was all about?
It's another tip, okay? No. You just never know. So if you go ahead and you sense that one of your co-hosts isn't prepared, you just learn to do some, what do they call it, diatribe or whatever. You learn to cover for them, give them a little time. And so it wasn't intentional, but it could have been. I do that at times. Sorry, Michael. Go ahead.
No worries whatsoever, Mark. Absolutely. We appreciate the thoughtfulness always. I think what you shared in a very short period of time is a very rapid fire bullet points of things to be very aware of, to be kind of ready to go, on point, be clear about, what you want and what other people want, and, give some examples, tell some stories, keep that energy level high, and keep them engaged.
Okay, so up until the last 10 seconds, Michael was irritating me. Okay? The last 10 seconds, though, he wasn't. What's that?
You wanted me to jump in and ask questions? You were on a roll. You were on rapid fire.
No, the reason he irritated with me is he just kind of restated everything I said. He validated me. Now, because I'm a driver, I just learned I want validation. But it's okay for him to irritate me because it's not about me, right? It's about the audience. And so sometimes I talk a little fast, so the driver and the expressive will often talk quickly. And so having somebody like Michael who will come in and restate it a little slower, is good. It affirms what you're saying. But you got to be careful on that, because the high-frequency people will get a little irritated by that because they're like, Mark said it, he already got it, I don't need restating. Oh, be careful not to give too many examples. Like sometimes people will list 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 examples. And it's like, no, somebody only needs 1 or 2 or 3 maybe. And so be careful of that. Why was the last 10 seconds that why was that really significant?
High energy and keeping him engaged.
So that was one part. What's even more is the first was restating pretty much everything I had said, which again could be good if you have low frequency people on, but high frequency people often get things the first time. They don't want to be told again. But you have high and low frequency, right? So you got to have all of those addressed. But the high frequency are often the ones you're going to make the most money on, so don't burn them out. Like you got to move stuff fast. What Michael did is in the last 10 seconds, he enhanced some of the things. And so you might say, Mark, I didn't catch that. Right. And so when you're doing a webinar, and this applies to videos too, right? Ask a question, tell a story, make the videos ideally less than 3 minutes long. And so if you guys go ahead and do a 3-minute video on, let's say, high-end design, well, then Life Masteries may use your 3-minute to sell, the hour or 2 hour. So again, learning how to use video to go, and you think about, you study other people's, videos and what they do, and you go, the high-end design through Untangled Minds, it's amazing. I don't even, imagine me on video doing that, how fun and funny that would be, because it comes across as sincere, but I'm really faking it. But that's okay, because even in faking it, it's still real, because it is still amazing. And so learning how to do video will clone you. And then if you do a trailer video, what's a trailer for a movie's purpose?
The elevator speech. It's just some key point highlights, just to intrigue your interest.
Why? What purpose?
Well, to get better viewership, more people interested, people will come to
to get more people watch the movie. Simple. Yeah, again, when you're communicating, you want to simplify. You want to use as few words as possible so you can get as much, it's synthesizing. It's really tight, really. So yes, the purpose of a trailer video is to sell the movie. Trailer movie, a trailer for a movie, the purpose of that is to sell the movie. That's the purpose, sell the movie. The purpose of your trailer to any of these is to go ahead and sell the webinar or the course or anything. So this is where most people don't understand. And so if you go ahead, this is what's funny. You could go through a webinar and love it, and you could go ahead and put together a trailer for it, like a 3-minute on how amazing it was. And I could never watch it, never go through it at all. And whose would they use? Whose would Life Masteries use, your trailer or mine? You saw it. It's sincere. You spoke from the heart. You did everything. Whose would they use, yours or mine? I'm just faking it. Whose are they going to use?
The real one, of course.
But maybe that's thinking into it too much.
What's that, Michael?
Well, I would anticipate it would be which one was most heartfelt and which one was more moving. So it'd be which one had the material in that they were looking to promote.
Yeah, it's going to be who they feel is going to promote the event. Who's going to be somebody who's a faking it, or somebody who's really authentic? Who's going to do a better video? Jerry, you were going to share something?
I was definitely going to say authentic, but I got to say I'm so. I guess I'm still amazed with that. Every time I'm on a call with you, that I'm learning something new. But with what was just said, a couple weeks ago, you had mentioned that I had too many words, and on my wall it says, "Don't tell stories or share too much. Get to the point." And that has helped me tremendously.
Okay. You do want to share stories. You just want to condense them down. People love stories. They remember stories. So do tell stories, but don't give unnecessary details. You want to do just what's needed in the story. Like if I have a 3-minute story, I want to tell that in 2 minutes or 1 minute or 30 seconds. You want to have stories. You want to ask a question, but then you want to tell stories. They would probably go ahead and use my testimony, because I have learned how to tell something and fake it better than what you can do real. Like an actor. And so I've been, done thousands of videos, literally been on TV, had a lot of training, so I can fake something better than you probably can do it for real. And so, but is the faking really faking? It's really not, because I internalize it. And I think the world of Tanglewoods, Untangled Minds, high-end design, anybody I'm going to do that for. So my international speaking coach, Linda Breakhall, she said to me, she got Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul, to endorse her book. And he wrote it down, and he said, "Linda, this is, amazing book, one of the best I've ever read. The content was so powerful, changed my life forever." And I'm like, "Linda, that's amazing. Wow. That's huge." She's like, "Oh, it's not that big a deal." I'm like, "Excuse me?" She's like, "Oh, yeah, no, that was pretty easy to do." I'm like, "How did you do that?" And she's like, I just paid $2,500 to go to one of his events. I knew that I would shake his hand. When I shook his hand, I went ahead and said, "Jack, I'd like you to endorse my book." I showed him the book, the front cover, the back cover, and I said, "This is what I'd like you to say." He looked at the front cover, back cover, what he wanted to say, and he said, "Sure, go ahead and do it." I'm like, "But Linda, it said he read the book. He got so much out of it." And she's like, "Mark, you're so naive." I'm like, "I am. Isn't that lying?" Why would he ever do that? She just rolls her eyes and laughs, I'm sure with me, not at me. She's like, "Mark, in the media world, in the publishing world, it's like if they didn't like my book, they're not going to blame him. So all press is good press." And I learned something powerful that day, is to learn how to sell things, without going through them. So I just put energy into something. And so it would be, I did it with the EVAs and VAs a few days ago. I taught them how to fake something. Do I really feel this, or am I just faking it? They thought I was feeling it, but I wasn't. I was just faking it. So learning how to be a faker, but it's like for people like me, very devout Christians, you never lie, always tell the truth. It's not that you're lying, it's you're seeing something into the future. Yeah, that's the ticket. You're a driver. You're an like Tom Kuntz. It was funny. He co-authored the book Community Business Partnerships with me. He's the co-author of it. I don't know, 3-4 years. We're speaking all around the country, and we were in Southern California, and he was dropping me off after speaking that day, and he said, Mark, our book has some amazing things in it. I'm like, uh-huh. He hadn't read the book that he and I co-authored for 3 years, but he can sell stuff. Why? Because he's not selling the book, he's selling me. He's selling him. He's selling the concept. He's selling the knowledge. So I'm not going to go out and just fake it for anyone. I only fake it for those that I know have, the capability to deliver what I'm faking it for. Jerry, anything else you got?
No, that really helped me out tremendously. I did learn a lot on this one.
Good. Jill, anything you got?
No, not right now.
Emily, anything you got?
Nope, I'm good.
Elise, anything you got?
No, I'm good.
Novi, you're heading up the training and the development and the mentoring of people who are co-hosting and speaking and doing videos and all that kind of stuff. Was this the craziest, most awesome thing you've ever experienced, Novi?
Yes, it is. Very interesting.
So that's another lesson. When somebody asks you, you can feel the energy, okay? So if you're on mute or something like that, you can feel the energy coming around the room. So I'm going to warn one of my co-hosts. I'm going to say, Michael, or I'm going to say, Jerry, make sure you get off your mute really quick, because you don't want to pause. Pause is like, it's a sign that maybe they're not really as excited as what they, would be. And so you don't want to pause unless it's some places you do. But you can almost, like the reason Tom and Paul dance with me so well, like we never rehearse, we just go on, we're just magical together. The reason for that is they can feel my energy. Most of the time I'm leading a webinar, but I'm okay with them interrupting because they're very tight and careful with what they interrupt, and they're interrupting almost always with something, like really with something of tremendous energy and passion. That would be Paul, and Tom with deep, deep wisdom and insight. And I love when they do that. And when I'm asking them the question, they're ready to respond quickly. If you don't have a thought, the way you buy yourself time, say, Mark, that's a great question. Based on my response, you might not think I'm blown away, but I'm in awe. It's stunning. It's unbelievable. This is the most exciting thing I've ever gone through in my life, Mark. Or, Mark, I get the deepest part of who I am. It moves me, and words are not there. Well, Mark, I could think of 3 things. I won't go through those 3 things on why this is the 3rd best webinar I have ever been through in my life. So again, you see how I adjust my personality and control the energy. Again, it's cloning me. I'm all of those things. Don't worry about being true to yourself. Being true to yourself is growing as a human being, not being a droid. Like I am a driver analytic, but I can go into the expressive. It's a good stretch for me, or the amiable. It's an equally good stretch for me. And so listen to Antoinette. She's an amazing person. And her expressive, she has to contain it sometimes. She did a pretty good job of containing it this time. But boy, when she gets excited, So yeah, listen to Novi. She'll coach you and help you. I do encourage her. She owns her own company. And she is a young woman, and she is from the Philippines, so she's going to be able to see things that, if she wasn't from the Philippines, she wouldn't be able to see. And so listen to her. Encourage her to be direct and tough with you, because she's so nice. Like, her personality is nice. She's such a nice person. And then in the Philippines, I think they train everybody to be super nice too. So she has nice. But that's not what you're looking for. You're looking for somebody to be direct with you, somebody to be honest with you. So encourage her to do that. Encourage other people. I remember I was speaking at a number of events with a guy that looked like Zig Ziglar, sounded like Zig Ziglar. He's from Texas, height, voice, everything. He actually had been mentored 3 years. And I asked him, I said, hey, what would be a suggestion you would give me on how I could be a better speaker? And he said, honestly, Mark, you're magical. He said, there's not anything. I was disappointed. I was disappointed. I'm like, really? Nothing? There was somebody, I think her name was Rhea in Nashville, and I asked her, I said, what would be one suggestion on what you would give on how I could improve? She says, Mark, you have the most magical stories with your 7 kids. She said, I think if you put imagine, so you're telling the story, but you're not pulling the audience into the story. And I really appreciate it. I never forgot that. Never forgot that. In the course I taught on Sticky Messages Box 2, ask a question, tell a story. Ask a question, open somebody's heart, mind, and soul, and then telling a story fills that and moves people. So what questions will open up people and say, wow, that's a great question, and what story do you use? And Linda also told me too, so you listen to your coaches. She said, Mark, you don't have, all your stories don't have to be true. I'm like, they don't? She's like, no, you can actually, as a professional speaker, you can use somebody else's story. I'm like, you can? And then she's like, and you can embellish your stories. I'm like, you can't? You can do all of that? She's like, yes. I'm like, wow, I would have never known that. Now, for me, all my stories are true. With 7 kids, I don't need to make up. I don't need to embellish anything. I don't need to do anything. They're just all true. So, but if you don't have 7 kids and if you're not as wacky as I am, it's okay to make up some stories. For sure, any story you use, you want to have it be intentional to take the people who are there and take them from where they're at and move them to another place, and it needs to be intentional. All right, Novi, anything else that you have for us today?
No, I think I'm good. This was very interesting.
What was interesting about it?
All of it.
So Novi's the one that actually went ahead and got this going. She's the one that it was her idea. And so she's going to, again, be working with all of you. Again, listen to her. She's magical. For some of you CPAs, here's a little bit for CPAs. Laugh a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to worry about it. To show a sense of humor. You can't embellish. Just try it once. Embellish something. It's fine. You think you're smart, and you think you're busy and important. My oldest brother is a CPA. You think you're busy and important. I'm just telling you, you're not that busy. You're not that important. You're just not. Now, you can say it, I can say I'm really smart and I'm really busy and important. When you're speaking, you can say that because then people confuses them. Put a little laugh on it. They're like, does he really think he's smart and important? So you confuse the audience. That's kind of cool too. A little bit of fun. But yeah, for you CPAs, the government does, and the IRS does your area 1, 2, and 3. You have 97% retention. The reason that you're just so busy during tax season and due dates, I just got to be honest, you might not be as organized and disciplined, as you should be. You could make 2, 3, 4 times as much money if you built a system for your CPA practice and then learned how to do what we're teaching you how to do, and then that will clone you, and your intellectual property is worth 10 times what you're earning now yearly. I'm telling you. This is actually true for all of you. So all of you, your intellectual property, because everybody in your industry is struggling just like you are to put together a system. you put together a system that works for you, and then you learn how to sell that system, you'll make more money selling your system through, and it'll be passive income once you get everything in place than otherwise. So again, CPAs, make sure you listen to Novi. No, she's not a CPA, but neither am I. So there's things that we can learn from others, and one is cloning and reproducing ourselves. And so if you have any questions, connect with the individual who invited you to participate in today's session, or you can call toll-free, 888-230-2300. That's 888-230-2300. Let's see. Is there anything else? Oh, yes, one other thing. Always remember we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Doing the co-speaking on webinar, so much fun, so cool, and a great way to clone yourself, gain experience, and get the word out there without you doing the work. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.